Good day and welcome to the Google Workspace What's Behind the Waffle webinar. It's so great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for registering and for joining. I'm Charmaine and Barbara. I am the account management lead at Opennetworks. It's so great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for registering. And presenting with me today will be Barbara Brand. She is our professional development lead. And she is also responsible for developing some of the most amazing training content related to Google Workspace that can actually be viewed and enrolled for through Opennetworks. So just to tell you a little bit more about Opennetworks and what we do, we focus on business and education both, fully deployments, training, change management, transformation and support. We focus on productivity and collaboration, of which obviously Google Workspace is one specific tool that we'll be focusing on today, Google Cloud Solutions, learning design, and then we also have some of our own products. So not to worry, you can actually visit our website. Today we'll only focus on Google Workspace, but you can go to opennetworks.com, Opennetworks with 2 N's, if you want to read more about what we do. So we also boast a professional development specialization. We are one of 50 Google for Education partners worldwide. We've been recognized by Google as a professional development partner. And we also recently won the most innovative educational cloud solutions for 2021 awards. So that's also due to the amazing work that Barbara and the team are doing. So throughout this session, you can actually engage on the chats on YouTube. We have Mandy and Jordan at the back to answer any questions that you might have. You're welcome to just post comments and emojis, anything that you'd like to share or give feedback on. We'll also have a question section at the end, Q and answer section at the end. We will actually look at some questions that aren't answered during the chat. And then we'll also be measuring the engagement where 10 of the most engaged attendees will actually win free training. And that was actually developed by our professional development team. So yes, the engagement will be tracked and we will actually announce the winners at the end of the session. So we encourage you to chat, we encourage you to collaborate. We will have 2 opportunities for you to actually collaborate and share in the fun of today. So enjoy the session. I just want to show a little video of what the training is actually about.
In this video, we're going to cover everything to do with text in Google Docs.
Hi everyone. Oh, it's so lovely to be here and it's so nice to see so many people on the chat. I recognize a lot of names. Welcome, so lovely to have you. As Charmaine mentioned in the beginning, my name is Barbara. I'm the professional development lead here at Opennetworks, and I'm really excited to share some really awesome features that have completely and totally just changed the way we work and function. So again, thanks for being here and let's dive straight into it. Please, I see the chat is already going. Please be involved. Ask questions in the chat. There are lots of people there. So Mandy and Jordan are going to be answering questions as we go. But the more engaged you are, you could win access to that training platform. So to get us started is actually from Gmail. And the reason why I say Gmail is where we start is because in Gmail, everybody knows Gmail, right? We have a personal Gmail account, we have a work Gmail account, and often we use Gmail, well, that is our main thing that we use. But within Gmail, what you'll notice, and I'm going to go into a demo and show this to you, but what you'll notice is there's this little waffle that is hiding in the top right-hand corner. Now, when you click on that waffle, it's like this little magic path that just goes and it leads to this wonderful world of opportunities. So there really is a reason that with the blurb of the session, we said that it's like a magic button that just opens up all these things, because it really does. When you click on that waffle, you get access to things like Google Sites, you get access to Google Classroom, to Google Docs, and we're going to show you how to maximize that during the session today. So let's have a look at what that entails. Okay. So here we go. I have a browser, and this is just a Google Chrome browser. We always recommend that you use Google Chrome because you can customize it to suit your needs. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail just now. But from the top right-hand corner, as you launch Google Chrome, you'll see that here is a waffle. Now, we call it a waffle just because it looks like a waffle, and who doesn't love some food terminology to get you feeling like you've got the munchies? So here we click on the waffle, and now you'll see what happens is it gives you a whole list of different tools to access. So for example, you have the first one, which is really important to know about, and that is your account. When you click on your account, this is going to take you to an area where you can go and look at your privacy and personalization. You can go and look at the personal information for your account. You can go and look at your security. If you want to know, like, do I have any security risks that I need to be worried about? You can access all of that from here. So first little bit in the waffle that you really should know about. But if we just have a look in the top right-hand corner, you'll notice that that waffle is actually going to follow you around within your Google journey. So as I click on my waffle again, you'll notice that I can go straight to Gmail. As you click on Gmail, it's going to launch a mailbox. Now this is my training mailbox. So I see Ilonka says the waffle, the samosa, breadcrumbs, I love it. So you'll notice that we use a lot of food terms here at Opennetworks. So we've got the waffle, and just to give you a little bit more of context, I'm going to zoom in over here, right up to the top. This is the waffle, and next to it, you'll see this little drop-down arrow. I might refer to it during the session as the samosa. The samosa is a drop-down arrow. It gives you more options. You'll also notice this over here. This is another icon that we need to recognize. But today, we're just focusing on this waffle. As you click on it again, you'll notice that we've got Gmail, Google Sites. Now, Google Sites, I'm going to show you Google Sites towards the end of the session and show you what lovely things you can do and create. And these are all available to you, not just in your work account, but also in your personal Gmail account. We have Google Slides for wonderful presentation creations. We've got Google Forms, Google Sheets, Google Drive, Google Classroom. If you are busy trying to create some courses for maybe for your company to work through or for a school, then you'll notice that Google Classroom is the ability to do it, is where you do it. Then as I scroll down, I'll do a little bit of hovering to make sure that you can see where my cursor is. So this is Google Chat. Google Chat is like our WhatsApp within the Google space, where we chat to each other internally. We can communicate. You can pop a quick little video call within a chat. You'll notice that we've got Google Groups. You've got Google Maps. You've got Google Photos. You've got a lot of different things that you can just access through that waffle. Now, the wonderful thing about using Google is you can't break it. So when you are clicking on this waffle, don't be scared to just go and try something. For example, if I scroll down here and I'm like, what is Google Photos all about? Or what is Google Translate all about? Just click on it and open it up and see what it does. There's really absolutely no harm in doing that. You really cannot break Google. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit, and we are going to head into Google Drive. So I'm going to click onto Google Drive. And the reason I'm going straight to Google Drive is because Google Drive is like your heart of your Google account. It is where, like, just like the heart in our bodies, where it like pumps all the blood and it keeps you going, this is the main point where everything is stored, everything is created. And I'm just going to go to my Drive section. You'll notice that within this My Drive, I have a lot of different things, right? I can scroll and scroll for days. Now, one of the beautiful things about Google is it's really customizable to suit you and your workflow needs. So in this space over here, there will be times when I like to see things within a list view, or I would like to see things in a grid view. Now, in the top right-hand corner over here, in your Google Drive, oh, I went one too far, you'll notice that you have this icon over here. Now, when you click on that icon, what it does is it actually changes your Google Drive view, just so that you can switch it up a little bit. Sometimes you want to use the list view, sometimes you want to see it in grid view. And this gives you a nice way to be able to quickly just visually scroll through, and you'll notice a lot of different videos that we've created, but it gives you a nice little preview into what it is that you're looking for. Now, one of the lovely things about Google is that you can really, because they have such powerful search algorithms, you can search for things really quickly and efficiently. So instead of going to the top of Google Drive over here and just typing in a search term, you'll notice that you have this little icon at the top, which is a filter icon. And when you click on it, it actually allows you to search for certain types. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can see that a bit better. Over here, you'll notice that as I click on this icon, I can now search for, maybe I want to go and search for Google Documents. Maybe I would like to search for a spreadsheet or a presentation. I can actually choose to do just that. So let's say I just want to look for presentations within my Drive. Then I can go over and I can say, well, I've now searched for presentations, but I'm looking specifically for one that I don't own. I can actually search for somebody, a specific owner of it as well. So as I go, I can say, well, I would like to search for something that's not owned by me. And when I click search, you'll notice what happens now is all of a sudden, I have a whole bunch of things, but I'm not sure if they're owned by me or not, right? This is when those different views really come in handy. So I'll be able to go and use that list view again to now search and change my view. Here are all the same presentations, but now I can see who the owners are. So this is a really nice way to use that icon to be able to switch between the different views. So again, the Waffle is taking you to Google Drive, and Google Drive really is really where everything is. Now you'll notice as people share things with you over time, you'll get a lot of stuff that comes into this shared with me section. The shared with me is, and I'm going to explain this a little bit later, but as people share things with you, you get access to their links. So the link to that document, and that comes and lives within that shared with me section. It really, and if you add them to your Drive, then they'll come into your Drive. So what I just want to go back to quickly is talking a little bit about Google Docs. So we're going to show you some really lovely collaboration features that are going to help you streamline your workflow, that are going to help you be a lot more effective with collaborating with your colleagues. And within Google Docs, you are able to comment, you're able to share this, you're able to see everything happening in real time. When we created this presentation for the session between Charmaine, Katie, and myself, we were all collaborating and working together, which means that instead of doing it over a longer period of time, it took us a really short amount of time by adding comments, which we're going to show you how to do today. The same with Google Slides. Google Slides is an incredible presentation tool where you have access to the beautiful Explore tool, which Charmaine is going to touch on a little bit later. And we've got Google Sheets as well. Now, Google Sheets is a really, really powerful data capturing tool. And it's not just to capture data, but it's also to visualize your data in such a beautiful way where you can look at charts, you can ask your data questions. It really is incredible. So what I'm going to do is, before going any further, I'm going to ask Charmaine to come back and join us so that we can do some live collaboration and we can just show you what this entails and get you guys excited. Hey, Charmaine.
Hi, yes. So thanks for that, Barbara. Like Barbara mentioned, we all know Gmail, and that's why we sort of start the journey of using the Waffle from Gmail, because that's what we are familiar with. So from Gmail, you can just click on the Waffle, and we are going to create a Google Doc. And first, I'm just going to share it with our internal team, share it around a little bit, and then I'll share it with everyone and open it up for everyone to actually collaborate on. So remember, we encourage that collaboration and participation. So I just created a new doc, which we will actually just title. Let's say in this case, we plan a year-end function. And I just want to share it with our internal team. So Google Groups is something we're not going to touch on today. Oh, did it not save? It did not save, my bad.
And while you're saving it and giving it a title, Charmaine, just for everybody to know, one of the most important things to do when you create your doc, the first thing to do is to give it a name. And that is because you don't want to go into Google Drive and then find that you have like 100 untitled things within that space, because then you're just going to be searching for untitled stuff. So great.
Correct. Naming conventions are very valuable. So I've created a document, I gave it a name or a title, and I'm sharing it with Demo at Opennetworks, which is our internal team. And you can actually add a message in here, which actually will give them an email with a little bit of a description of what this document is for, the purpose of the document. And then we can also say what permissions they've got. Can they view it? Can they comment? Or can they edit? In this case, I actually want everyone to edit. So typing a message for the team. So this means that everyone will get an email in their mailbox saying, please collaborate. So I just want to show you two things before I actually open this up for everyone to assist and collaborate with us. We basically have, there you can see in the upper right-hand corner, we have individuals already joining, and they will actually jump on and create content. One of the things that we do when we use documents for meeting minutes or a document where there are multiple people included, we actually have a list of attendees that we list at the very top, and every person write their own name. So I'll just go ahead and add that, attendees, and I'll add myself.
Yeah, planning an end of year function has never been faster. As long as you can work your way around the cursors, as you can notice, everybody's jumping in because everybody's excited, because who doesn't like to plan the end of year party, right?
Definitely. So one thing to notice that's quite nice, there are different functions from editing or suggesting point of view. We can actually, in the upper right hand corner, there's an editing function, which everyone are editing at the moment, but you can actually go ahead and suggest. So let's say it's something like a legal document and you don't want to change the actual content, but you want to participate by giving a suggestion, even correcting spelling errors or things like that. You can actually change it to suggesting. That way, let's say I'm actually not Charmaine, I'm Letitia, who's my twin sister. I can actually just change it from a suggesting perspective, and it will actually keep the original content there, but just cancel out with what I am suggesting at the top. And then another nice thing is that you can actually comment. So we can see there that drinks, for example, coffee, water, juice, brandy. So I would say tea. You can actually highlight what you want to comment on. In the upper right-hand corner, you can click add comments, and you can type whatever you want, and you can actually tag someone if you want. So Barbara adding you on here, hoping you are bringing rooibos tea.
Definitely.
Rooibos tea. So I can assign this to Barbara, which means she would also get an email where this is an action point for her. She knows that this is actually assigned to her, and she can actually go ahead and respond to that specific thread. I will just have to give her rights. So also remember, I shared this now with the group that's in another domain. So there's a lot of security features built into the sharing and permissions of a document or any other Google tool, in fact. So because the specific user that I'm sharing with is in another domain, I can actually just give her edit access from here and say comment. And that way she can jump on this document, she will actually receive the email, and she would actually be able to collaborate. So also on sharing, I just want to quickly show you, if you click on share, there are different options that you can actually share this document with. So there's viewer, commenting, editor. So, and I can actually change it to anyone with this link, meaning anyone that accesses or receives this link, whether it's via WhatsApp or an email or a chat, can actually edit. So this is what I'm opening up for everyone now to actually participate. So there we go. It says anyone with this link can edit, and I will be sharing this link with everyone in the YouTube chat. Then you can actually go ahead and comment.
Yeah, it'd be great if you guys jump into the doc and see what it's like to be collaborating. So while Charmaine pops that in, you'll notice that when you join, once you turn link sharing on, because we haven't specified specific names of who we're sharing it with, when you turn link sharing on, you might see some people pop in as like anonymous walrus or anonymous turtle. It assigns these random names to you just because because we've opened it up to a link, we don't have permission to get your name. So it's a security setting. So you'll notice that as you get access to it, you'll actually be able to jump in and collaborate. So let's see if we get any anonymous people jumping in.
There we go. So the link is posted in the chat. I want to see if there are any new people there. So this is quite fun. If someone joins this document and they actually, an individual with a familiar account, they've got their photograph, you can actually see it there. If we have random people joining, like attendees for the session, it would actually give you like fun anonymous names. So we've got an anonymous buffalo, camel, and other words that I can't pronounce. But we basically have 27 plus these 5 people collaborating on one doc at the same time. So what's amazing about this, I just want to show you, you're welcome to collaborate and add comments, even respond to some of the comments that's on here already. There's also a way to actually add in media or files from the Google Drive or from the normal Google browser. So where you normally go into a separate tab, go Google search for a photograph of chocolate cake. We want to eat chocolate cake, yes. Let's see food. No one has added chocolate cake, so let me add chocolate cake. There we go. And if I want to add a photograph of chocolate cake, I can go insert image, and there you can actually see the different options. So Drive, Google Photos, or you can say search the web. So this would be your normal Google search. And it actually considers the permissions that you would look at or filter on in the normal Google search browser as well. So if you have permission to use it, then it will actually appear as an option in the search bar. So chocolate cake. And boom, there we go. Let's add chocolate cake, insert. So these are amazing functions that you can actually use during collaboration on a doc, with obviously all of the normal word processing features as well. So it's basically word processing on steroids with all other collaborative and integrated offerings included. So there's the in-doc chat, the comments you can suggest. And then just looking at the specific version history is something else I want to look at, but I just want to make sure that people don't carry on working on this document. So you can at any point actually remove the sharing access. Just change it to view only or comments only. So you just click on the share button again. And for now, I just want to make sure that the team who I shared it with is actually only viewers. And then I change this link back to anyone with this link can view. So this will mean that all of you who collaborated can actually view the same document.
And this is really great. Like when you've been working on a document and you're collaborating together, when you're done and you want to now leave it at that specific version, then you can just change everybody to viewing access, and you know that it's set.
Yeah, correct. So I want to show you the version history as well, and Barbara will just touch on it later on. But you can go, there are two ways to find it. The one is under File, Version History, or you can just click on Last Edit Made. That little link there takes you to the version history as well. So if you click on that, it actually gives you a preview of everyone who collaborated on this document, color-coded and everything. So this is like an A-type personality joy. You can see who did what and who added what. So this way I can see that I edited, everyone else edited, and we actually have all anonymous users will actually be colored in one color. So it's just because it's not identified with an account as such, but there you can actually go and have a look and see who added what. So that is a nice way to sort of have a look and see what the changes were. And if it's something like a document that's quite content heavy, so let's say an agreement, for example, it would be very easy to see who changed what in a larger document with a lot of content, because you just scroll to the colors, which is quite nice. So yeah, that brings me to the version history of it. So the sharing, actually explore tool where you can add something from the Google search browser, and yeah, removing permissions, having view only. You can revoke access completely if you'd like. So if it's something that's you know, we want participation once off and then it's done. You know, it's a report being sent to leadership or head office or whatever. Yeah, those permissions can actually be managed accordingly. So Barbara, I don't know if there's something you actually want to add on here, or if there's something that you think is of value other than what you are going to discuss after this.
No, I think just one of the really lovely things to be able to do is naming version histories. And the reason why it's so important to be able to name it is you're going to be working in things at different phases. So if you are working in a draft, you can go and name this first version as like first draft. Then you've sent it off for moderation and checking. You can then name that next one for moderated version. And you can go back and switch between them at any time, which is really powerful to be able to keep track of everything. And then you'll see you can name up to 50. You can have up to 50 named version histories within a document, a presentation, or a spreadsheet, which also really gives you a lot of possibilities within one.
I just want to mention also one thing valuable related to the version history is we don't end up with multiple versions of the same file, having to email a file, someone makes a change, receiving a different copy back, and having so many versions or iterations of the same document. You actually only have one. All of the information, the history, everything lives in one document. And if need be, you can then go back and restore previous versions if you then need to recover previous data or a specific status of that document. So that's quite nice. Yeah, so I think that concludes our Google Docs live demo. Thank you for the participation and collaboration. Barbara will actually take it forward and just share a few use cases in some of the Google tools.
Yeah, so one of the things that's also really important to know about with version history, so thank you, Charmaine, that was a great demo. I think it's really lovely to see how quick it is for all of us to be able to collaborate in one space. And when you're using version history, something that's really good to know is not everybody can see the version history. So if you are an editor of a document, like you saw Charmaine share everybody on editing rights, or even with anybody with a link can view, if you get editing rights, you are able to go into that version history. So I've got it open here. You're able to go into it either by going File, Version History, and see Version History if you have editing rights. However, if you give somebody viewing or commenting rights, then they are not able to see the version history, which is also nice to just know that that level of control that you have. So let's have a look at some applications of how to use version history. The first one that we do at Opennetworks is meeting minutes. Now, when you're creating your folders and your structures for a year, you're busy creating pathways, which you don't really want to have to recreate those every single year and then reshare a new structure. It's really nice to be able to create one system and then continue it over and over again. So you'll notice that over here with Google Docs with meeting minutes, if you go in the beginning of the year, you start your meeting minutes for your team and you do your different dates. At the end of the year, what you'll do is you'll go into your version history and you'll say meeting minutes for 2021 and you'll save that. Then you'll go back to your doc, you'll clear everything out of that doc and literally delete it all and start again. The benefit of that is, like Charmaine said, it's one document all the time. So you don't have to go and find a whole bunch of different documents all the time. It's always going back to the very same one. It really does minimize the amount of, I don't know where this is, I don't know where that is, because you're just streamlining the process by keeping the same documents going. Another one, which Katie, who's running the back end here for us, and I use quite a lot, is version history within Google Slides. Now, as you're using and you're creating presentations, you're going to go through different iterations of those presentations. It might be a course that you're running, it might be a pitch that you're giving, but it's really nice to be able to know what was it that we did a couple of months ago and what changes have been made since then. Or if you're coming into a presentation and you've noticed that a whole bunch of changes have been made and you just want to know something is different and I actually really preferred the previous version, you can just go straight into the version history and access it. Now, the other benefit of all of this is that you never have to click save in the Google environment. So when we have load shedding, because we know that that's a thing, you don't have to worry about losing your work because everything just gets tracked. Now, if you've got two different people working offline at the same time and both of them come online at the same time, you'll actually see their different versions come up in the version history as well, which is really helpful. Another use case is data capturing within Google Sheets. Now, within Google Sheets, you may have a number of people capturing different data at different times, and you may notice that this doesn't seem to really line up to what this column header says it should be. And you may just want to query either who added that data or you just want to see how it was added. You can go into the version history and it will actually show you who has added what data into what columns, because like Charmaine showed you, every single person, and I'll show you just to reiterate it, every single person gets a color associated to it. So you'll see here, I can go and see that Chester was given orange, and I can scroll through this document and I can see there Chester added in diet water. And this is a great way to be like, who added this into this document? You can see over here, Charmaine added in the chocolate cake. So it's a really nice way to be able to go and see who has captured what. Then if we go on to commenting, like you saw Charmaine adding in comments, she did the one where just adding in a general comment, Letitia jumped in and added a comment. Charmaine also directed a comment at me. This can be really useful. Let's say, for example, if you're doing a proposal, you are not always going to be, especially with COVID, in the same place at the same time. So you can go and jump into a document and add different comments. So I can say, hey, Katie, I really like this paragraph that you've added in here. It's really powerful. Or I might be able to go and go, hey, Letitia, I'm not so sure of this phrasing. Please, can you recheck it for me? So instead of waiting to see them in person or waiting to have a meeting, you're actually collaborating and communicating through comments within your Google Doc. The next one is, let's say we're working on a pitch deck in Google Slides. Again, all of this functionality that you saw with the commenting is available in Google Docs, in Google Slides, and in Google Sheets. So now you can go and direct a comment to a specific team member to get their input and find out, what do they like? Do they like the circular layout, or do you think that maybe we should do it in a linear fashion? It's a really nice way to just encourage that collaboration, and then it doesn't really limit your day or limit your ability to continue working because you've popped in that comment. And one of the great things about adding a comment where you tag somebody is they will then get an email to show that they have been tagged. And let's say you've got a budget sheet where you're all planning budgets. It would be really helpful then to go and say, okay, Katie, please can you go and put like together a budget for the learning design team, and Charmaine, can you go and put together a budget for our end of year party? And you can assign all of that in one place. And again, instead of going into a meeting and then assigning it from there, or in the meeting when you're having the meeting together, you can assign it at that specific time. It's really, really helpful. Now, the Explore tool, where you saw Charmaine going and searching for chocolate cake, is really incredible because what it allows you to do, and I'm just going to jump back into this Google Doc over here, is let's say I want to go, if you have a look in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice this icon over here. This icon is your Explore tool, and it opens up your ability to explore the internet. So let's say I did go and search for chocolate cake again. I'm saying chocolate cake again, chocolate cake. You'll see it brings up web results, it brings up images, and it even brings up content that you have from Google Drive. I'm very interested in the fact that I have a whole bunch of stuff in my Google Drive that says chocolate cake. But I can go and pop in images like you saw Charmaine do, or if I go to the web, what's really nice, because we all know that copyright is a thing, if I go and copy a bit of something, I can actually just drag and drop, and you'll see that it's popped it into here. Now, as I hover over, and I'm just going to zoom in so you can see this really fancy little icon. You see that quotation mark? So I just need to make sure that I'm in the right place. Where did I paste this? There we go. Next to that quotation mark, if I just click on it, what it does is it puts a little number 1 with a referencing. And if I scroll to the bottom, can you see how it's actually now referenced that for me? So that ability to be able to add referencing straight from within the document really saves you so much time, and you can even choose what type of referencing you want. Do you want MLA, do you want APA, or do you want Chicago? It really is such an incredible tool to be able to use. And within Google Slides, when you're creating presentations, you can go and search for copyright-free images straight from within the presentation. It just makes your presentation creation that much faster. Then data questioning. One of the wonderful things about using the Explore tool, that same little icon that you saw us using Google Docs in Google Sheets, means that you can actually go and ask your data questions. So you could say you've got a spreadsheet with a lot of data in it, and you just want to know, like, what was the highest figure that we got in May? You can ask your data that question using the Explore tool in Google Sheets. The other thing with sharing, if you are sharing policy documents, you saw how Charmaine made everybody view access only. You can change them over to view access. If you are reviewing a document, you can give everybody commenting rights, and then all that they can do is they can make suggested edits. Like you saw Charmaine switch over, you can do that as well. Where commenting access, and I'm going to go through that, means that they can just suggest or add comments. With data capturing, if you share it with editing rights, everybody can capture data. So I just want to review the importance of understanding a link. Now I'm going to just go back to this. If you have a look at the top over here, you'll see that we have a link at the top. Everything within the Google environment lives via a link. So here we have docs.google.com, and you'll see that there is a unique number next to it. That is that document's unique URL, and that is the link that it lives in. And the only way, so if I had to copy this link and share it and just put it into another account, you'll see what's going to happen is it's going to, because everybody still has access to view, but if I change that, it wouldn't allow me to actually go and see that document, because the links really help you to add that level of security to it. So one of the things I just want to recap before I hand back over to Charmaine is when you share, what sort of rights do you give people? So if you're giving editing rights to somebody, it means that they are able to share or unshare the document. They're able to edit the document directly. They're able to suggest edits and add comments. If you give somebody commenting rights, they're able to suggest edits and add in comments. If you give somebody viewing rights, they are only able to view it. Now, if you are slightly concerned about the sharing and unsharing, there are some advanced features that you can do to make sure that people cannot share it further when you share it with them. The last thing I quickly want to touch on is the ability to be able to customize your space within your browser. If I scroll over here, you'll notice this is one of my accounts. It has this really funky pattern as a background. Then if I scroll over to another account, this is my Opennetworks account, you'll notice I have a whole lot of bookmarks. I've got folders with different things that I've bookmarked because this is how I work. I can customize it. And if I go over to my next one, you'll see this is a different space. It's really lovely to be able to customize your space to suit you. And in the bottom of your Google Chrome, you'll notice that you have this little pencil icon. And from that pencil icon, you can actually go and choose, well, I really like art. I would like to go and have a really artsy background and have that as my Google Chrome browser background. Again, you can go and customize, like we showed you in Google Drive, you can customize it to suit you and your needs. So it feels like your space. Okay, I'm going to just scroll back through my many screens, and we're going to now jump in to explore Google Forms, and I'm going to hand over to Charmaine, and she's going to show you the incredible things that you can do with Google Forms.
Thanks, Barbara. By far, one of my favorite tools is Google Forms. I actually even use it in a personal capacity for RSVPs. But there are so many use cases, and after this demo, Barbara will also touch on use cases for forms. But I'm actually going to show you a form quickly that we're going to create and that you guys are also filling in for us today, so we can actually show you the responses and the sheets at the back end and so on. So again, from Gmail, you can access your Waffle and you can just click on Google Forms. It opens your sort of like Forms homepage. So it's quite nice if you know the URLs. If you don't have the Waffle or if you don't access via the Waffle, you can just use forms.google.com or docs.google.com or sheets.google.com, but the Waffle is easier. So we'll just create a new form. So we're going to say start new form. And in this, it's something that I actually want to have questions that you can see the variety of question options, but also something that you can relate to in actual data to actually answer the questions. So firstly, again, we want to title the form. So there we go, work from home check-in. You can actually add a description from HR. For example, this could be a form that's sent by HR to the whole team. Let's say the company is sort of in the decision-making phase of do we do work from home, work from office, or both, and just a check-in of employees to see how they're doing. So you can actually customize the look and feel of the form as well. So it can suit your company branding. So whatever color that would be, it would automatically adapt in 4 different colors, dependent on the color that you chose. Or if you actually upload a header image with your branding, it would actually adopt the colors within that image as well. So it is very intuitive and it's really user-friendly as well. One thing I want to show you is just different sections. So if you know, it's sort of good to map something out in your mind, and then by the time you actually implement it on a form or a sheet, it's actually sort of planned out. But there are different sections. So that little icon there is the button that allows you to add in different sections. So you can see the work from home check-in in the beginning. You can literally in there just add a description, even add an image if you want, whether that's company branding or a joke or a quote or something to just sort of uplift the team's spirit. And then on the sections, this is sort of going to be like a flip through page when they actually fill out the form, and you'll see it when you do it. But we're actually going to have section 1 with personal information. And again, this is something that based on the section title and based on what you type on question, Google will automatically suggest a field type for you for that specific question. So if I add in name and surname, it gives me a short answer there. It's a little bit slow on my end. Normally it would suggest that quite quickly. You also have the option to actually make it required or not. So let's say you want employees to fill this form out if they want with their name or anonymously if they want. Then you actually wouldn't make that a required field. To add a question, you just click on that little plus. So this is a question within the same section where you can just ask for their email address. Not that you won't have that already, but it changes it to short answer there. And again, if you want it compulsory, you can actually add it required there. But for this case, we want actually to encourage answers, even though it could be anonymous. And then phone number. This could be any form of data. I just want to show you basically how that works in terms of suggesting a specific field type. There we go. So again, you can actually record these from a required perspective. And then also, if you collect email addresses, there's a whole lot that you can do with that afterwards. You can set up notifications if someone actually fill in the form. You can send an autoresponder to that email address. So there's a lot of features and functionalities that you can use with extensions in Google Forms to really help you operate and streamline the process a lot more. So on a second section, let's do, so working from home has been, this is sort of just a check-in to see how your staff is doing, just as an example. So you can actually say there are different options like multiple choices or checkboxes. So let's just call this one check-in order. And then the question can be, working from home has been. And then it would actually give you the difference between checkboxes and multiple choice is with multiple choice, you can choose only one. With checkboxes, you can choose more than one. So in this case, it would actually populate the checkboxes for you, and you can just type that in. So you can add in difficult, so much fun. Loved to have my kids at home. In the office. Whatever your content is in that regard. There we go. Then in this section, as part of a check-in, you can ask a simple question like, do you need emotional support? And you can do a simple, this could be a multiple choice, yes or no, or you can actually do a drop down. I just want to show how this one works. So you can actually say yes, or it suggested no for me. There we go, no. And then if we add one more question, and this, you don't have to answer the whole thing, but if you actually want feedback from a honest perspective where you encourage employees to actually give you feedback and talk to you, you can ask a question and select the paragraph option so they can actually, there is a lot of characters that they can actually then type within. There we go. Okay, so then another section, that's our last one. It's just to say work from home preference. So this would be something that the HR can actually implement from a practical perspective if they want. Ooh, preference. Thank goodness for Google grammar checks, ne? So this would be something to say, I prefer to, and you can add in the options here, work from home only, or work from the office only or a bit of both, whatever the case may be in that regard. Yeah, and then I think there's one more field I just want to add quickly, and this could be something like, on what dates would you like to return to the office? Dates. Would you like to return to the office? There we go, and it suggests a date for you, and with the person filling in, they would actually be able to populate the date field in there. So now you've got like a basic form with sections and different questions, and you can actually view the form. So this would be a preview of how it would look for the receiver or the person who will be filling it in. I won't be able to go, I can go through it now. It's not required questions, but there you go. It's like first page, check in on a second page, and work from home preference. If you want, you can add in like another section that just says if you have any more questions or comments or whatever, you can actually do that. So let me go back to the form and then just share it with you. There we go. Just want to make sure there are actually restrictions and also security measures to make sure that a form is not shared outside of your organization or with a non-trusted domain, for example. So I'm just going to uncheck this box right now just to say that our attendees today, as well as the people in our team, can actually respond to this form. There we go. So if you click the send button, you'll see that there are different ways to do it. You can send an email directly from this form, and then you can choose to include the form in that email. Or you can actually create the URL link. You can shorten it. That can also be sent on numerous platforms, or you can embed it. If it's something in a website, let's say a leave application, for example, if you use Google Sites internally and you use a leave application form, you can embed it in that Google site, for example. So for the moment, I'm just going to quickly share it with our team. And then I'm just going to include the form. So they will receive an email now, and then I'm also going to just share it in the chat for everyone here to collaborate. The advantage of shortened URLs is if, let's say, for example, you need to SMS a form URL, then the long URL might actually take up all of the characters and you can't really add any other text. So let's just quickly paste it in there. Just a shout out to Zia and Katie at the back for doing all of the technical work. So there we go. You'll see the link in the comment section on YouTube. So while you guys fill out the form, I just want to show you basically another feature. If you add on the look and feel, choose a header image. The options also from here is you can actually upload, or there is an existing group of sort of suggested images that you can actually choose from. So there is a nice gallery that's quite, let's choose something officey. Let's say this is like an HR related thing. There we go. And you can also see that the color changed to sort of adapt to the image there as well. So that's what I meant with, if you upload your own branding, an image there that has your branding on, the colors of the form would adapt to that image. So it would actually help streamline and make sure that there's some integrity in your corporate identity, which is quite nice. And then one more thing I just quickly want to show you. So you can actually check the box to say if there should be a progress bar. It would have been a good idea for this form. We have multiple sections, for example. It's a little bar at the bottom where as they go through the next section and the next and the next, they actually can see the completion of the form and the progress that they're making within. So that's also a nice feature. Okay, so we've got some responses. I just want to show you the questions were sitting right here. So these were the questions that we populated in the beginning. None of them were required, but you can actually make some of them required. If I click on responses, it would actually give me a list of everyone who submitted a response with the email addresses or the data that they chose to submit. And there we go. Here are some built-in graphs that you can actually leverage and see what the feedback actually concludes. So we can see that working from home has been so much fun for the most. That's great. And then also, do you need emotional support? So again, in an HR perspective, it's good to actually know if your team is doing okay. This would be an easy way to just sort of measure that and have that metric to work with the employees at the office. And again, this is just one use case. And then what was the impact of the lockdown on your family? I'm not going to go into that. And then I prefer to, this is interesting, hybrid seems to be the winner. Do a bit of both. I think we're productive at home, but we miss the social interaction at the office. So yeah, the least of us would actually want to work from the office. So this is quite interesting to see. Also on the date fields, this is just sample data, I'm assuming. But one step further, other than the responses here, you can actually go ahead and create a sheet. So the moment you create a form, already at the back end, it's linked to a Google Sheet where it populates all of the data that is actually received throughout submissions. And all of that data then sits in a sheet for you, ready to be processed or used or exported or contacted or whatever the case might be. So, I mean, the use cases for this, especially knowing the capability at the end, if it's data that you need to filter on, sort, do pivot tables on, etc., this would actually be the ideal platform to not only collect the data, but to also process it afterwards. So on this sheet, you can work like a normal checkbox. So, for example, if I want to say that I have checked in with a specific user or employee, you can actually go ahead, add some checkboxes or whatever the case might be. And you can work on this document like on any old sheet, like on any other sheet. So this is quite flexible in terms of you've got the form that you can customize. It's good to have a final version of that before you actually create the sheets. Because if you make changes on the forms, you would have additional columns in the sheets. But it's good to have like your final version of the form and then the final version of the sheets and work on the data from there. Yeah, so that concludes our form demo, which is quite interesting. Again, this form can be copied. You can work from the same form in the future. So it would be good to create a template, for example, that's got your branding on. You can copy and create different forms from there. So Barbara is going to just show us one or two use cases for Google Forms.
Great. Thank you, Charmaine. So forms can be lovely for attendance registers. If you want to do a quick little check-in of like who's here, who joined our session, you can do a quick little attendance register to be able to capture everyone's information. You can also do HR surveys like you saw Charmaine do now. And one of the lovely things is you get that data straight away. Like you saw, you get it in graphs, you get all of it instantly. You can put it straight into a Google Sheet and you can manipulate it and use it from there. And you can also use it to collect employees' information. So if you're looking for, any of their details, instead of hand capturing, if you've got any processes where you're still hand capturing data on a piece of paper and then trying to transfer it over, that allows for human error, and we need to be so careful with that. So transfer that over into a Google form and do it that way. Before we end off, and we've got just a couple of minutes left, we're going to quickly show you some wonderful things with Google Sites and how you can actually use Google Sites. So before we get into the winners, Google Sites, you can see over here. Now, Google Sites is available from your Waffle. So if I go to my Waffle, you'll see that I have a Google Sites available to me here. Now, a great thing is you can actually drag and rearrange these as you want. So you can move them around and reorder them, which really does make this, again, Google is very customizable. So as I go into Google Sites, you'll be able to go and either use one of these templates up at the top, or you can go and create a blank site. Now I'm just going to show you some couple of internal sites that we have, just so that you can see what a completed site can look like. So here is our brand on site with all of our different brands and the do's and the don'ts that we have. If we're looking at our Monday.com division, we have branding guidelines that we need to follow. If we are looking at our internal site, so this is like our internal sort of intranet, we've got a lovely home on page. You can see we've got this lovely big banner at the top, which is super impactful. If we're looking at COVID-19, we've got our visitor forms, our employee forms. We've got all the different information that we need to know about wearing masks. And if we have a look, I'll just go over to marketing. You can see that we've got buttons that you can embed that if I click on them, they'll open up something else. But if I just go back to marketing, you'll see that you can also, I don't think it's on this page, but you can also embed presentations where you can actually click through the different slides. So on this is another website where instead of having the navigation on the left-hand side like you have here, you can actually have the navigation up on the top. So I can have this little drop down where I can go to different sections of my site. I could have a get in touch form straight from here, where just like you saw Charmaine create that form, we can say get in touch and you can answer straight from that website, which really just makes it so easy to use. Now I'm just going to go into one of our sites that we have, and I want to show you that even in Google Sites, just like you saw in Google Docs and Google Sheets, you have version history. So you click on your little 3 dots, you go down to version history, and here you will be able to see all the different versions. So you can see that we started this site down in February, and we can go through all the different iterations of this site just like we could within a Google Doc. So it really is incredibly powerful to be able to use these tools throughout all of the different Google environments. So I'm going to ask Charmaine to come back and announce the winners for our engagement. Hey, Charmaine.
Hello. Yes, so thanks first of all for everyone who engaged. I did see that there were a few questions there. I think just in the interest of time, we'll get back to you on those on email. We have most of your email addresses anyways. Our winners, thank you for engaging, participating in the doc and the forum, and also for the chats and the comments in the comment section. Yvonne Grisel, Claudia, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, so I'm not going to even try. Landy Campbell, David Lombard, Sandy Hammond, and Ziad Flores. Congratulations. You have won a 3-month subscription to our digital training platform, which is awesome. You will love it. So if you could just please email us. I just want to get my speaker notes have disappeared.
Okay, if you email edu at Opennetworks, it'll come straight to us and we'll be able to add you onto the platform.
Thank you. Yes, then we can also verify your email address and then we'll add you onto the platform.
We have one more winner who's just been added, Lisa Bowles.
Oh, great stuff. Congratulations. All right, so that brings us to the end of the session. We have taken notes of all of the questions, so we'll reach out to the individuals directly to actually answer them. And then, yeah, again, just a shout out to Katie and Zia and Jordan and Mandy at the back for making everything work seamlessly. Thank you, Barbara, for co-presenting and for the awesome design and spirit that you bring to any learning topic. It's awesome to work with you. And thanks for everyone for attending.
Thank you, Charmaine. And thanks everyone for being here.